and thank you for joining our webinar, Fine Art and Collectibles Insurance, Ask the Experts. My name is Richie Venner, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Distinguished Programs. I'm very excited to be leading the discussion today with members of our new Fine Art and Collectibles program. We pride ourselves on having the experience, flexibility, and depth of expertise to help brokers get the deals done, and this team really exemplifies that. After the webinar, we'll send all registrants a copy of the slides, the webinar recording, and a PDF with the questions and answers from today's session. If anyone has a question during the presentation, please use the Q&A button on the bottom of your screen. We had quite a few questions sent in ahead of time, so time permitting, I'll get to them. And if not, we'll answer them afterwards and put them in the information that we're going to send out after today's webinar. Distinguished Programs is a leading national insurance program manager providing specialized insurance programs for real estate, community associations, hotels, restaurants, fine art and collectibles, and environmental and construction professionals. Are you ready to be the go-to expert for fine art and collectibles insurance? Let's get started. Joining us today are Patrick Drummond. Patrick has 25 years of experience in specialty insurance, including as head of fine art, specie, and bloodstock for the Americas at AXA XL. He has held various leadership roles in underwriting, sales, marketing, product management, and claims, and is a passionate collector himself, as you can see by the guitars behind him. Erica Whitler is also with us today. Erica blends her valuable experiences in the art world with an insurance background, including her 16-year tenure at a specialty insurance carrier and her additional time working as a fine art niche broker. Her varied perspectives from within the art world include museum internships, working in galleries, and spending time as an art conservation center. To ground the conversation, and also to cover a lot of questions that were sent in ahead of time, let's run quickly through some of our fine art and collectibles insurance program basics before we get to additional attendee questions. Patrick, I'm going to address this first question to you. It's so broad. What is fine art and collectibles insurance?
Perfect. Well, first of all, 25 years in the business just sounds like a really long time. So it's, I need to come up with a new pitch. I'm getting old, but it's exactly what it sounds like. You know, we're insuring things of high value, things that are precious and collectible, that people prize, whether it's, you know, personal value or of cultural significance. So fine art, any type of collectible, we'll look to insure it. So that's exactly like it sounds.
So maybe if you could go into a little bit further, what types of items can we insure? Could you give us some examples?
Sure. It's we do a little bit of everything. Fine art obviously is in the name, but sports memorabilia, entertainment, wine, spirits, very popular today. Antiques, antique furniture, stamps, comics, manuscripts, you know, the list goes on and on. If it's collectible and we can establish a value, i.e. it can be sold in a secondary market, you know, because obviously we need to know what value we're insuring it for, then we'll look at insuring it. So there's so many things that fall in the collectible category, you know, from fishing lures to decoy duck collections up to some of the largest, you know, art collections out there. So it's a pretty broad category.
Okay, thanks, Patrick. Hey, Erica, Patrick was just talking about the stuff, but what type of events can fine art and collectibles insurance cover?
Well, really, this is an inland marine property form. So we're looking at an all peril coverage form for physical loss or damage, where a section of the policy will have specific exclusions listed. So keeping that in mind, you know, this policy is really designed to cover losses during shipping, for accidental breakage. We will cover water damage and oftentimes temperature fluctuations. Anything like fire and smoke damage from events where you have a fire involved. Vandalism and malicious mischief will come into play a lot of times for outdoor sculpture, and we cover that. All kinds of natural disasters, theft, again, physical damage policies.
Okay. I mean, it sounds like it covers a lot, but just as important is what doesn't it cover?
There are things that aren't covered. When you're looking at the fine art and collectibles policies we're offering, there are certain situations that we're not going to be covering. One of which is inherent vice. These are qualities and characteristics of an art or collectible item that make it prone to damage or to deteriorate over time. So if you're thinking about maybe rust on a Corten steel sculpture, things like that where it's expected degradation, and certain kinds of plastics also will fade or become sticky or degrade over time. So we're not going to cover things like that. Wear and tear. The policy is not going to cover wear and tear. Something that happens when there's regular use or just in the natural course of aging. Third-party liability. Again, it's not a liability form. So there may be parts that will cover for defense cost, but third-party liability is not covered. Intentional destruction. If someone intentionally harms or damages what we're covering, that's not covered. Arson's not covered, things like that. We'll also not cover situations where the owner knowingly converts the item for personal gain, business, enterprise, or fails to authenticate the item properly to bring it into their inventory or their collection. That's not going to be covered. Something else, another topic that we encounter in this type of insurance is authentication questions and title. There's not coverage for those, but again, there may be opportunities for defense cost reimbursement when we're talking about that, but it really depends on the situation and the artwork. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us and talk over something specific you want to kind of roundtable and talk about if it has to do with authentication and title. And then, of course, large events that are catastrophic like war and nuclear are not going to be covered either.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Erica. Patrick, who typically purchases this type of insurance?
Well, you can really bucket this insurance into two categories from an insurance standpoint: personal lines and commercial lines. So first being private collectors. All the way from a private art collector to somebody collecting comic books or guitars, as you see my collection behind me, is the first and probably the largest area of what we do. But museums and institutions, obviously, lots of artwork, sculptures, universities, exhibitions that go along with those museums and institutions, corporations. Most major corporations have some form of a corporate collection. We love those, whether it's hotels, restaurants. We've done artwork in restaurants, to major, banks, et cetera, law firms, in architectural firms are actually other areas where you see a lot. Dealers and galleries, so art dealers, galleries, as well as some other dealers. So we will look at dealers, insuring dealers that sell various other collectibles, maybe sports memorabilia, a good example. Artist foundations is something that's fairly common that we will insure. Municipalities, lots of municipalities we've insured historically to have statues, artwork, valuable papers, etc. And I mentioned universities. So it's a pretty broad group. I guess anybody, whether it's a commercial entity or an individual that has something of value, a collectible value, will look to insure it.
Okay. Hey, Patrick, I've got another one I'm going to ask you. We got this from quite a few of the participants sending it in ahead of time. How is this different from a homeowner's policy?
Yeah, the first, and I think the most important difference is you get a specialized expert underwriter. My colleagues have all been working in this space. We live and breathe the art and collectible world every day. We're passionate about it. We love it. We see all kinds of various collectibles and artwork come across our desk. So you're not going to get an underwriter that is used to underwriting your home, your auto, in general contents. So we understand the collection. So you're getting somebody who's specialized and does this day in, day out, which, may need specialized valuations or basis of valuations on how we will settle whether we're doing blanket coverage or we may be doing an agreed amount for an item. So that's something also different. You get automatic coverage for newly acquired property. Specialized claim service, that's another really important one. In the event of a loss, I'll use artwork for example. We don't see a lot of total losses in artwork. Oftentimes we see artwork that is damaged that can go to a conservationist and be repaired, or maybe if it's a living artist, the living artist can actually repair it. Now we're looking at a loss in value claim, and not knocking a homeowner's company, they don't have that expertise that our claims and underwriters have in the extensive relationships we have into that space. I'd also say flexible deductible options. And then one last point I would make is what's nice about our policies is you have a loss with us, it doesn't impact your homeowner's insurance. And the homeowner's insurance market is becoming extremely tough. I'm sure a lot of the people on this call, in certain areas of the country know exactly what I'm talking about. And a loss with us is not going to impact the homeowner's policy or jeopardize the loss of the homeowner's policy.
Okay, thanks, Patrick. Yeah, that helps a lot. Erica, where is our coverage available right now for Distinguished?
Well, we're excited to announce that we are currently launched in several states, and we're planning to expand to all 50 states and Washington, D.C., but we are just pending regulatory approval on the remainders. We'll put this information up on our website, so you can check it out there, and we'll keep it up to date as we get those approvals on an ongoing basis. But if you have questions in the meantime, don't hesitate to call any of our team members and ask specifically if, say, Pennsylvania or Utah or California is up and running. We'll be quick to respond. And as a side note, Richie, all of our policies will be and are on admitted paper. I know we've been getting that question a lot.
Okay. And what is the capacity right now?
Our capacity is $55 million right now, and within the next couple weeks, we're anticipating increasing that to $100 million. So we're just finalizing some details. Also right now, which is an added bonus, is we don't have any aggregation issues. So if you're looking to place a risk in a state or location, we're all kind of familiar where there might be some tight aggregations. We don't have that challenge right now. So please give us a call. We may be able to help you. We don't have restrictions on where we can or can't write business. So if it's a good risk, we can look at insuring it.
Okay, all right, great. Thank you, Erica.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick, here's another one for you. And I know it's quite important to a lot of the brokers when they're talking to the customers. What factors go into determining cost?
There's a lot of factors, and one of the things that I love about what we do is we still are very much doing the art of underwriting. We don't plug things into a computer system and it spits us out, here's what you should charge and here's the coverage. It's really the underwriter getting an understanding of the risk, what's the collection type, the size, scope, makeup, fragility, where's it stored, spread of risk, deductible, other type of hazards that may be associated with it, transit, which I think Erica will hit on shortly, but we see it, one of our top causes of losses is transit. So are they shipping a lot of their collection? Location, obviously, as Erica mentioned, there's no place we can't go. We can write with pending regulatory approval, we can write in all states. So there's no place we can't go. But obviously it has an impact on our appetite potentially and what we may want to do in a state. So location could have a factor in determining that cost. Loss history, of course, best practices. One of the things that we like about collectibles is that people have a passion and they show extra care in their collections. They have a passion around it. So that's really important to us. We'll want to know, and as much as you can tell us about the client and their collection management practices is going to help the underwriter get more comfortable with the risk and have an impact on that. And then, like I said, frequency of transits is probably the most common one that we see as far as losses.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. All right, so I'm going to shift a little bit. We were talking about some of the basics of the program and answering questions that were sent in regarding those basics. Now I'm going to go to some of the more specific questions that were sent in ahead of time via email. And when I finish with that, if there's time, we'll go to the live questions that have been coming in. So the first one, and I'm paraphrasing because it came in a bunch of different ways. Why distinguish? Or what's the distinguished difference? Patrick, maybe if you could talk to that a little bit.
It's really the people. We love art. We love collectibles. We collect. I think most of the team has an art or a passion around some type of collectible. So we get super excited when something comes across our desk. So it's not just hey, it's a new risk. We know the artist. We have an appreciation for the collection that somebody has. And I think that's really important in how we underwrite and how we work with our brokers. And to that point, that expertise can translate. You don't have to be an expert. If you're on this call and you have clients, but you don't know much about insuring their collection, that's fine. We will help you. We'll work with you very closely and help make you that expert to make sure that you're providing comprehensive coverage for your client's needs. Client forward service. I like to say our motto is we want to be super easy to do business with. Doesn't always mean we'll be super cheap. We're going to ask good questions, but you can have the confidence in knowing that we have excellent underwriters that are going to dot the I's and cross the T's. So when you place a risk with us, you're not going to see fluctuation in pricing every year. You're not going to see us knee-jerking in appetite. We know what we're doing, and once you place it there, our goal is that you place it there and it stays there to meet your client's needs. But again, we want to be super easy to do business with. I mentioned passion, flexibility. I think that comes from a lot of areas. One, flexible payment plans. We can do agency bill or we can do direct bill with various payment options, deductible options, as well as because everything we see, nothing is alike. The underwriters have the flexibility to look at and make sure that they're applying the right types of coverage and making any adjustments or endorsements to a policy to meet those specific needs of the client. And lastly, connection. We're very much live and breathe this business, so we have deep relationships in the collecting and art community, whether it's conservationists, appraisers. We have those relationships. So in the event of a loss, we can help make sure that we get it to the right people for whether it's looking at the value or potential loss in value, or we're looking to repair the item. We will help you through that entire process.
Okay. Patrick, I've got another one for you. I think it builds on what you were talking about. And again, it's sort of a paraphrase. Who I've been working with at Distinguished, and I think when I saw the questions come in, you can almost say, how do I know I'm going to get someone who knows what they're doing? Am I just going to get an assistant underwriter, or do I get someone who is a real expert? So who would I be working with at Distinguished?
Yeah. So rule number one for me is always surround yourself with really smart people. And it's we have extremely talented underwriters here that, like I said, that have extensive experience. Right now, you can see we're trying to work in regions. So Erica is Central Midwest, Skylar's doing the Southeast, Allison Northeast, Noni the West, and Michelle Stegman is doing our claims. However, we're still waiting on regulatory approval in some states. I think we're 26 states commercially, less states personal lines, and we'll post that after this so everybody has that. And that's changing daily. So, depending on where we might be getting business, you could get any of us working on your account. But in general, we will more than likely geographically, but you can call any of us anytime. And if you don't know, call me. I'm happy to talk about it and make sure that, it's the right person. It also could be who may have a passion or an understanding around it. Obviously, I know guitars and musical instruments. Skylar's a sports memorabilia, very passionate about those type of things, and toys and other type of collectibles. Allison has an appraisal background in fine art. Erica and Noni, a very deep fine art background. So we may shift it based on the expertise of the underwriter, just to make sure that, hey, you know what, they really understand this better than I do. You know, Erica, I want you to help me out with this.
Okay, that's great. All right, I'm going to shift gears to a completely different sort of question. Erica, how do you handle appraisals and valuations?
Well, really, when we're looking at a risk that's coming in and you have a client that you're looking to help, we would like to see as much documentation as you currently have. Like, we don't need you to advise the client to run out and get appraisals, but just go ahead and send us any inventories or lists that the client's able to provide you, and any supplemental appraisals, bills of sale, receipts, any relevant documentation that the client has gathered or that you can get them to send you is extremely helpful, because we can gauge basically the extent of the collection, what Patrick was alluding to about, you know, who's best to handle this and who knows maybe more about this particular kind of art or collectible. And then we want to make sure that the agreed value or the total amount of the collection is right on target. We don't want to under or over insure anything. So we want to best advise you on those types of coverage and policy limit. So we refer to the document so that we can get an accurate description. Sometimes it's not just that it's a photograph by this artist, but we need, you know, was it done posthumously, and who printed it, and things like that. So the details are very important. So for coverage and for policy limit purposes.
Okay, all right, thank you. And Erica, what is the top cause of loss?
As we mentioned earlier, our top cause of loss is transit-related incidents. So whether it's a bit of a transit heist, if criminals think maybe they're getting some electronics out of the back of the trucks, or it's just damaged things were not packed adequately enough, that we're going to see breakage, and which would be a partial loss situation. So when we're transporting fine art and collectibles, there's just a number of things that they're exposed to, and we want to make sure that everything arrives safely that departed from pickup to destination. So we do advise that people use specialty fine art shippers and packers. These are professionals that have expertise and knowledge throughout the packing, handling, and transportation. We have freight forwarders and international freight forwarders who deal with this specifically, that are specialized, and they know who to subcontract to and how to do it. So again, packing techniques and securing the right transportation method, be it airplane, boat, airplane, or ship. If you're sending sports cards, comic books, sports memorabilia, there are more cost-effective ways, but sometimes there are better ways to make sure that things arrive in one piece and that they arrive entirely. So many losses aren't total losses. When we're working with partial losses and values, we're definitely involving appraisers and our specialty adjusters and our head of claims to help out with those situations. So again, just reach out to our team and we can talk about how to advise on packing, shipping, anything like that.
Okay, all right, thank you, Erica. So Patrick, if a broker wants to submit business, how hard is it? How do they go about it?
It's pretty easy. I guess first step is we need to make sure that you're a registered broker with distinguished programs. And that's very easy to do. You can go onto the website and register your agency. Literally, you go in and register today, you'll be in our underwriting system tomorrow. And then any business that you have to submit, you can submit it to the website here, submitfac@distinguished.com, or you can call any one of the underwriters. We will take, an Accord app. We may ask for a supplemental. We have also our applications, which would be preferred, but we want to be easy to do business with. You can also find those on our website. When you go to submit business, you'll find our applications there for you to complete. But that's it, really simple, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, great. And someone submits something, what's the average turnaround time?
Right now, we're expecting 1 to 2 days. But we do realize sometimes in our business, we get those rushes. We've gotten those phone calls where somebody needs coverage and they need a quick turnaround. We can do that, but 1 to 2 days is what our service standard is. But
Okay.
again, if something comes up and you need something sooner, call us. We'll work with you.
All right. And this question is actually for both of you. What's the weirdest thing that you've seen?
I'll go for it. I don't know if the weirdest. I got a ton of weird ones. So, and I know we're about out of time. But I'll say the coolest things maybe. I certainly love musical instruments, so I've had seen many guitars owned by or previously owned by famous musicians. Those type of things. Some really cool sports memorabilia. I collect bourbon, so I've seen some really very cool bourbon collections. And then again, duck decoys, fishing lure collections would be some of the other ones I've seen. But again, it's you name it, we've probably seen it. Erica, what about you?
I think it was surprising, but when you wrap your head around it, like vintage computer equipment, like cutting edge at the time, 1970s, 1980s technology that are, institutionalized is something that we need to preserve and learn from. Also things that are organic, like chocolate, soap, edible candies, like where you leave the wrappers. I mean, there's so many fascinating things out there that we can incorporate into our policies. I love seeing those come across my desk.
Oh, very interesting.
I think we did a hair museum once too, which is probably why we have a hair photograph. It's
All right, so it looks like we're just about running out of time. And there's a number of questions that came in. So I just want to assure everyone who submitted a question, we're going to answer all of those. And so we'll write them up and we'll give you a call and we'll send it out. So everyone on the call will get answers to the questions that people have submitted online. So we'll send all registrants a copy of the slides, the webinar recording, and a PDF with the questions we answered today and the ones that we didn't answer today. And of course, feel free to reach out directly to Patrick or Erica. I'd be happy to speak to you and answer any questions directly. If you enjoyed today's webinar, stay up to date on our latest events by following us on social media. We post about insurance market insights and industry news, and you'll find about the latest free webinars, ebooks, and case studies from Distinguished. So I want to thank everyone who joined us for today's webinar and our panelists, Patrick Drummond and Erica Whitler, for sharing their valuable insights. We hope you found this information useful and that you'll now be better equipped to navigate the world of fine art and collectibles insurance. Remember, our underwriters will be available to answer any follow-up questions you may have. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you at the next webinar.
Thank you.
everyone. Much appreciated.